I keep you don't trust the name you can trust when it comes to all things reaction. Shout out to all the returning subscribers. If you're new here, listen, you might as well hit the subscribe button, turn on your post notifications, because I've got more content that is coming that's on the way. Yeah? Get me? I may feel a bit under the weather now and again, but we do what is necessary, right? But anyway, look, I'm gonna repeat that again. By the way, my name is Versatile, aka the I Can Be Untrusted name you can trust when it comes to all things reactions. And right now, you know the deal, you know the drill, you know what we're gonna do. We're gonna give me a second. Alright, so what we're gonna do, you see what we're gonna do, you see the title, all right? So there's more content like that that's coming. Basically, do you know what I mean? It's like it's just consistent. But anyway, let's no delays. Let's get straight into it. All right. So boom. Give me a second. So the first one we're gonna react to. Shout out to Tisa Tells as well. Make sure you subscribe to her channel. So yeah, the first one we're gonna react to is this one, right? Big is a statement. No, that's not it. Is that the latest one? Okay, yeah, that is. Let's react to this one. So if you watch the Diddy documentary, the Sean Combs, The Reckoning, if the just to give you a brief overview, what was mentioned was the situation in regards to Biggie contract. Now, this put it this way, to cut a long story short, because there seems to be a misconception here, right? The saying is that Big Sean Combs allegedly basically made Biggie pay for his own funeral, which is mad. Yeah. However, I'm not saying it's facts. I'm not saying it's fiction. All I'm saying is you have to pay attention to what is said. This is why I'm going to be watching again, and then I'm going to be making notes, and then I will give the takeaways from each episode, just so we can get a full understanding and get a solution to this. Not only just a solution, but because it's when you deep it, it's such a massive problem that goes on in the community. I'm talking about the worldwide community. All right, so that's my thing, because I feel like this needs to be an end, because Diddy is not the only person that has done evil demonic stuff allegedly. Well, the ones that he's been convicted of we know of, but like other than that, the other things he's been alleged and accused of, he's not the only person. So let's keep it all the way 100. But let's keep it real. Let's go. Let's keep it moving. I mean,
Diddy was up there talking about some every step I take, dancing on Diddy's grave.
That's
you think he ain't have grave robbers?
That's exactly what it looked like. There was someone that I wish I knew that person is that name or their profile name or whatever. They literally was showing like mimicking it. And I'm like, yo, this is it's literally dancing on Biggie's grave. It's mad. But anyway, let's keep it moving. Let's go. No delay. Let's go.
Position, but listen, and all of a sudden they signed this deal, and then she died shortly after, and the deal was for $100 million, and she was in a hospice. If you guys don't know, she actually was in a hospice dying. Oh my God, you guys, come in, sit down, and shut the door. Do you know that we have what I believe to be definitive proof that the manager that came out and spoke on behalf of Bad Boy and was like, what are you talking about? We never saw anything of wrongdoing, and everybody that's pro-Diddy is holding it up, being like, well, I don't know. Well, guess what? I do, and I did some research, because I was like, what they're saying doesn't make sense. Recoupment is when the label pays for it. They take it out of your money, and before you get $1 of royalty, all your recoupment is the label cuts a check, and then they take it out of the total earnings before you even get $1 in royalties. So when you
exactly what she just said, yeah, because you have to, like I said in my previous reaction, yeah. If you haven't watched it, I apologize if you haven't watched it. That's why you should stay subscribed. But if you watched it, I literally had to look at the timeline of exactly when the from March 9th to when the album was released. It was released what, 2 weeks later, if that. Now, if you compare that to Tupac situation, that's enough. Let's not even compare it to Tupac situation. But at the end of the day, if we are going to make that comparison, it was at least a couple of months. At least a couple of months. So you would have thought, and I get it. You want to continue to keep his name in the spotlight. That's one thing. But then it's like, this is why I was asking if anyone could let me know in the comments below. Maybe Tisa Tells me mention it. When was the original release date for, like, because I think the album was pushed back because it was meant to be released in 95. No, was it 95 or 96? It was meant to, no, I think it was meant to release in 96, but it got pushed back. So, and that can happen sometimes. An album can get pushed back for numerous reasons. Either more recording needs to be done, or other things like photo shoots and stuff like that needs to be done. There's various reasons, and also like if there's sample clearances, there's so many things that need to be put into play, like engineer, like the engineering and all that stuff there for the sound quality, the mixing, everything. Do you get it? There's a lot of work that goes into creating music, by the way. Yeah, I know it may seem like it's easy, but it's not easy. It's, you know what I mean? And I know this just based on the fact of me recording myself on independently. But imagine if I had a machine behind me. Pause. No Diddy. But she is 100% right about recruitment. All right, 100% right. That's how it works, irrespective of what the situation is in regards to this whole situation. But let's keep it moving because there's other things I need to react to on this situation because I was meant to do it before, but time got away. Let's go.
Get a royalty check, right? It wouldn't show recoupment. That's the gag. That's why artists hate it. And anybody that's an artist knows, okay? But guess what? I found an article from Check Notes. It was March 12th, 2025. This is after the tragic passing of Viola Wallace, right? And
or just call Miss Wallace or Mama Wallace. Just call her Mama Wallace. Do you know what I'm saying? Mama Wallace or Auntie Wallace. Do you know what I'm saying? Or Auntie Valletta. You hear me? Shout out to all the Jamaicans. Hey, listen, if you're a Jamaican, yeah, let me know in the comments below what content you want me to react to in regards to anything Jamaican, yeah? Get me? And I will do it on my other channel. Do you know what I mean? The I'll Keep You on Trust. So make sure you subscribe to that. And when I go live or post any content that you recommend, it will be on that channel. All right? But anyway, let's go.
Talks about Biggie's family won't benefit from catalog sales, claims Diddy's ex-bodyguard. It's Gene Deal. It's sad. But listen to the tea that he dropped about this man that was sent on the Breakfast Club. Now Hollywood Unlocked is reposting him, and everybody that is down to take that PR money from Diddy, either from relationships or actual cash money, is repeating this without actually going and telling you who the history of this man is. Now you can believe the manager, but before I believed the manager of the estate, I did a little digging and I was like, who is he? We're about to get into this. Listen to this. They said the sale of Biggie's catalog has been slammed by Diddy's former bodyguard, Gene Deal. Shout out to Gene Deal. He read me for filth today. I did a story about that. Go watch it if you want. He claims that Biggie's rapper's family will not benefit from a lucrative deal. Speaking to the Art of Dialogue, Gene accused Wayne Barrow, that's the person that Breakfast Club, Hollywood, every major news outlet is giving that. You cannot tell me that he did not come out on behalf of Diddy to defend him, but listen to his connection.
All right, let's listen.
Wayne Barrow and Mark Pitts, representatives of Biggie's estate, of exploiting Biggie's children and recently deceased mother with the sale of his publishing and marketing rights, which are expected to fetch as much as $100 million. Y'all listen to this. Knowing this lady was sick and she was in a hospice. If you guys don't know, she actually was in a hospice dying, and all of a sudden they signed this deal and then she died shortly after, and the deal was for $100 million. If Diddy was up there talking about some, Every step I take, dancing on Diddy's grave. You think he ain't have grave robber's position? But listen, and make up your own mind. Knowing this lady was sick and she was in a hospice, referring to Biggie's mom, Valletta Wallace, who died last month, these guys, Wayne Barrel and Mark Pitts, went on and started working out deals to allegedly sell Biggs publishing, his marketing, and all rights to everything. They are working out a deal for them, meaning the guys. It ain't about Miss Wallace. It ain't for Biggs' kids. Wayne Barrel and Mark Pitts, those dudes that Puff put into play. I can't believe this. This is the same one that's coming out saying, what are you talking about? Diddy was fantastic to Biggie. These are the dudes that when Big died, they took over the marketing and publishing and everything. They were Puff's boys. I guess it paid off because now they're looking to get 100 to 150 million on the whole thing. They about to get paid. They were placed there by Puff. They said Biggie welcomed 2 children, Tiana and Christopher Jr., before he tragically passed away in '97. It's unclear what the terms of the deal are and how much money Biggie's kids will receive once the sale is finalized. Gene Dill also claimed in the interview that Valletta Wallace never trusted Diddy and actively avoided him at events as she knew he might have had something to do with her son's death, which remained unsolved for over 30 years. And now she's taking it to the grave. It's sad. And these dudes are about to get paid from that, from sticking around. Again, the Hollywood Reporter reported that half of Biggie's music rights were close to being sold to publishing company Primary Wave, which also made...
By the way, yeah, obviously I'm going to pause and say my thoughts, yeah. This is a lot, yeah. And do you know what? Valletta Wallace did tell Gene Deal as well. Basically, and this ain't verbatim, but she was in agreement with basically keep speaking up, keep exposing Diddy. Like there was an actual phone call audio that Gene Deal made a phone call. If I can find it and react to it, I will. But I'm telling you, there was a phone call. So, but anyway, that aside though, you see when it comes to these type of situations, obviously, yeah, I know they were young kids, or yeah, they were basically kids. So obviously, the estate, Biggie's estate should go to obviously his mom and the mothers of, Biggie's children, yeah. And it's like, obviously, once they turn 18, the children turn 18, they should be controlling it. Do you understand? They should. Do you know what I mean? Like, I always feel as though, because it slightly reminds me, not even slightly, it actually genuinely reminds me of a particular situation. I don't want to talk too tough on it just yet. When the time does come, I will talk on it. Like I will react to it and stuff like that. I want to let the things be what it's going to be. But I will say this. It seems like it's a common theme within the music industry or entertainment industry as well, especially music industry, where the children, once they become adults, they don't necessarily they're not in control of their parents' estate, which is mad to me. I don't understand it. And then in some cases, they will want to say, oh, they don't have a recent will, or they don't have a will. Like, what are you talking about? Do you see what I'm trying to say? Like, what are you talking about? But anyway, let's just keep it moving though. But I'm intrigued to know, like, I don't even know, like, raw. This is deep. Like, this is genuinely deep. But one thing I learned in life, if you do something dirty to someone, eventually, get me, karma's gonna come strike you. And not only that, it will strike you tenfold. Let's go.
Manages the rights to the likes of Prince, Whitney Houston, Marley. The outlet, citing multiple sources, said that the late rap icon's publishing rights, which involved the compositions, not the sound recordings, were set to go for $100 million, while the master rights to the sound recordings would cost would cost in the 30-50 million range. They did, however, note that the other sources told them the total amount in the sale would come in at just under 100 million. They also noted that the timing of the deal was somewhat curious. Given the recent death of Voletta Wallace, they waited until she died to push this into play, and they said she signed off on it while she was in a hospice hanging on by a thread.
And
Voletta
that is
was the
pure
executor.
evil. That is genuinely pure evil. That is pure evil. I don't care what anyone says. You can leave your answer in the comment section below. Don't you think that's pure evil to wait until she's in a hospice where she's sickly to the point where she's not in the right frame of mind to be able to make certain decisions that are effectively life-changing for her grandchildren and eventually great-grandchildren and so on and so forth? Do you understand? And knowing of Voletta Wallace or Auntie Voletta, I'm gonna call her Auntie Voletta. You know what I mean? Knowing that she is Jamaican for first and foremost, I know she won't play about that. You understand? So it's mad. Let's keep moving on.
Of Biggie's estate until her passing, but Beryl and Pitts. Beryl was the one saying, "What are you talking about? I know for a fact Bad Boy paid, and there was nothing with royalties." Represented the estate in negotiations with Primary Wave. Beryl and Pitts were previously managers of Diddy. They were managers of Biggie during his lifetime and are credited as executive producers on his sophomore album, Life After Death. The two also worked under Diddy for Bad Boy Records and managed the career of Biggie's ex-wife, Faith Evans. Beryl and Pitts have yet to comment on the sale of the catalog, nor the allegations made by Gene Dill, who have gained a reputation for speaking the truth. Let me tell y'all something though. You make your own mind up on what you think it is.
By the way, Gene Dill I'm definitely gonna make my own mind up on this. Gene Dill has also talked. No, Gene Dill has definitely gone on the Art of the Dialogue platform, of course. But when the full interview is up, I will react to it. Do you know what I mean? I've seen some clips here and there, and I'm like, do you know what I mean? Let me just wait until the full interview's there, then I'll react. Yeah, because otherwise, just doing it in bits to me, it's like, nah. Let's do the full thing. All right, let's keep moving. Let's go.
And I say, yo, do they have connection to Diddy? Because this don't make no sense that you coming out speaking in parcel tongue. What are you talking about? We saw Bad Boy issue the check. Yeah, because you're counting on most people not knowing what recoupment is. Recoupment is the label pays for it, and then they take it out of the profits before you even get a dollar of royalty. Second of all, and then being like, we didn't see anything in the royalties. You wouldn't, and you knew that. You were playing in people's faces. And let me tell you something, right? If what Kirk Burroughs and Gene Dill allege, I believe, if it was false, Diddy would have sued. Second of all, Diddy would have showed proof that he paid for Biggie's funeral, and he would have showed proof through his lawyer. The fact that he's being so quiet, but he's sending out his mouthpieces to put out these counter narratives of who do you believe, lets me know that Kirk Burroughs is probably telling the truth, and Gene Dill is probably telling the truth too. Again, two dudes put in place by Diddy.
And this is the other reason why, aside for Gene Dill, yeah, let's just focus on Kirk Burroughs for a minute, yeah, or a few seconds. Kirk Burroughs was one of the co-founders of Bad Boy Entertainment. Kirk Burroughs was also the one that in the documentary, he just showed you that he was one of the he was the one that handled the finances, he handled the accounting. So therefore, from what he is saying, and even though he knew that Biggie was going to renegotiate contract, I can't remember the exact words verbatim, but basically he was negotiating a new contract. But Diddy at the time, or his name then was Puff Daddy or whatever. Like at the time, yeah, he allegedly wanted Kirk Burroughs to put in a watertight type of contract whereby it favors the label and not Christopher Wallace, aka Biggie. So you put that into perspective and let me know in the comments below. Yeah, who are you more likely to believe? And I'm not saying that it's not possible that, you know, Diddy could have paid for the full funeral, but he could have shown again. He could easily use these lawyers to be like, no, look, these are the facts. But no, you know what I mean. But end of the day, does it change your view on Diddy in the first place? Because for me, it doesn't change my view. I always felt like he was, you know what I mean. Even though there's some posts I've made in the past, yeah, it was a bit conflicting. It is what it is. When I say conflicting, it's like, damn, it's hard to explain. Don't worry about that. This is pre. Do you know what I mean? It's one thing hearing rumors and accusations, but as another thing when you actually see someone get convicted of something, then you see this document and then it reminds you, but hang on, everything just lines up. Do you know what I mean? But anyway, let's keep it moving.
Place to manage Biggie while he was alive. Let's also not forget that Kirk Burrows said that Diddy was mad shiesty. He liked to change contracts. He liked for artists to sign and then the people in the back end to do something funny with the paperwork. He already said that's the way Diddy moved. So the fact is, Diddy, and that Kirk Burrows said he either left or got fired, because he refused to change Biggie's renegotiated contract. Mind you, he got murked a couple of weeks after the renegotiated contract, and then Diddy put out Life After Death.
It makes you wonder, yeah. I want to know the exact timeline. The exact timeline of when was that negotiation? When, like, literally, when was that negotiation between Biggie and Bad Boy Entertainment, or Diddy and like when was that? Who was involved? Who else was involved? Did he have an attorney? Was On Riviera there? Is it On Riviera? I need to find out his name. Give me a second. Let me find out his name. Hold on. Yeah, Lance Riviera. On Riviera. Like, was he there? Like, I need to know that, because you have to ask this question, yeah, whenever contracts come up or the contract negotiations happen, obviously they need the entertainment layer. And knowing On was connected with Biggie, I'm assuming that he would have been there. I don't know. I could be wrong. But I just want to know the timeline. I think the timeline will, because you have to think, what's the motive? Because it's easy to say and look at the time and be like, why would Diddy, you know what I mean, allegedly do that to Biggie? And a lot of people from before this documentary, yeah, the Sean Combs The Reckoning documentary, especially before part 2, obviously they were released on the same day, but either way, like before that, most people were saying it's because of the contract situations. Biggie wasn't happy with his contract. Most people were saying that. They say the same thing about Tupac and Suge Knight, or the record, whatever it was with, but that's for another day, for another subject. Yeah. However, look where we are.
Oddly enough, Miss Wallace was in hospice on her deathbed. She decided to change the contract. Magically, after she died, that's when everything went into play. And now, even all this money that his kids were supposed to get, I'm hearing that they haven't even gotten any of that money.
I'm not
so
surprised.
Once again, Diddy's fingers. He want to sue everything else. He want to clarify everything else. Why don't all the people defending Diddy, why don't you comment on this? Where's the receipts that you're actually telling the truth?
Show
and Kirk
me
Burrows
the
and them are
receipts.
lying, because it would be very, very, very easy to find the receipts in a Bad Boy tax.
In the words of Whitney Houston, show me the receipts. Nah, for real.
Term. In the recoupment, it would be very, very easy to find the receipts, but Diddy don't want to. Anyway, you guys, listen, I'm going to chase this story down because I want to know what's going on right now with that money, because I think Faith is suing those people. And let's not forget that Faith was dating Stevie J, and Stevie J is Diddy's ride or die. Again, the bad boy family, baby. It seems like the only people that can escape it are Mary J. Blige or those being walked out in the coffin. Either way, I think Mary J. Blige is the original surviving Diddy, and I think that's why she cut off everybody that's cool with Diddy. That's all I'm saying. Anyway, y'all, let me know what you think in the comments. I'm chasing the story down. I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.
Yeah, do you know what? I'm glad she mentioned that, yeah, because that's another person who I thought should be in the documentary. See, there's so many layers, yeah? So many layers. But anyway, let's just keep it moving. Let's keep it moving. Like he was celebrating. I think that he's gonna get more time. It's coming. I've been saying it. Like I've been saying it. I feel like it's happening. He's gonna get more time. Now, whether it's gonna be I don't want to do predictions like that. Do you know what I mean? What it potentially could be before. But one thing in life, if you do okay, no, not just this. One thing in life, karma. There's positive karma, negative karma, or you know what I mean? This is why you always try and do the best for people and for your do the best. Like I don't know how always have good intentions. Now that's perception, because obviously, do you know what I mean? Like I'll use sports in an example. Good intention could simply be like one of my favorite players, like Diego Costa or Didier Drogba, like their aggressiveness on the pitch. Do you know what I mean? It's like they would. I'm not saying they would fight because they don't necessarily fight, but like their aggressiveness on the pitch to the point where, yeah, you would think they're fighting their opponents, yeah, but they're not. Do you know, they're not. But they have good intention. Their intention is to win. But at the end of the game, do you know what I mean? It's I'm not gonna say it's all handshakes and stuff like that, but it's an appreciation, if that makes sense. That you know. But that aside, I don't think I made the best analogy, did I? But it made sense to me, all right? All right, let's see what people say. The contract Miss Wallace signed can and should be contested simply because she was in hospice. Was she in her right mind? See, she must likely was heavily medicated. Medical records could prove how lucid she was. The children should challenge the contract in court. My 2 cents. Exactly that.
Anyway,
100%.
y'all, let me know what you think in the comments. I'm chasing the story down. I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.
I know we want to watch that again, don't we? Anyway, so I'm gonna say I am sadly not surprised by those evil tactics. I do wonder if with Miss Wallace grandchildren will fight this in court and actually take for ownership and control. And I think it should be normal for kids once they turn 18 to get access to their parents' estate and be in full control. Do you like? And well, let's just keep it this way. Because look, to me, I'm like, yeah, that don't make no sense. It genuinely doesn't make no sense. But anyway, let's get on to the next thing we're gonna react to. Yeah. There's more stuff we have to react to, but I want to get onto this before we even um delay this further. Do you see what I'm trying to say? All right.
Money, to get
But
artists, to get the talent.
these things should have actually been in the documentary. All right. So Sean Combs, the Untold Record in episode 1, Origin of a Monster, the Diddy Files. So yeah, hit the subscribe button, turn on your post notifications. If you want more content like this, you might as well hit the subscribe button because a lot more is on the way. I do want to also mention that if you have already subscribed, make sure you share as well. Leave a like. It helps with the algorithms and all that stuff there. You help me, I help you. Whatever you suggest for me to react to, I'll see if I'm able to react to it. But yeah, let's just keep it moving. Let's go. And then obviously, when I react to it and you are subscribed, you'll be notified and you can watch there and then. Get me? Everyone wins. Get me? Let's go.
Diddy Combs' own lawyers described the billionaire music mogul, currently facing serious sex trafficking charges in a New York court.
Music mogul Sean Diddy Combs. Sean Diddy Combs. Sean Diddy Combs.
Sean Diddy Combs. Sean Diddy Combs.
They won't even give me a permit for the parties, man. They don't want me to throw the parties no more.
I sat in the courtroom. I saw Diddy's mask slip. I watched the fear, the arrogance, the silence, all fighting for one man's soul. Saw people throw themselves out as a shield to protect their idol.
This is a guy who is just, the energy and the longing to dominate and be successful.
And I saw victims bravely come forward. And I saw the public not really understand. And that's when I realized, in order to understand where Diddy is now, you have to understand where he came from. Diddy is a certified monster. But the thing is, every monster has an origin. This one started in a child's bedroom. With dark...
Whoa, what? Anyway, let's keep it moving. That threw me off.
Secrets nobody could talk about. See, everybody knows the story of the fame of Diddy, but there's a childhood that nobody wants to touch until now. You guys, monsters aren't born. They are assembled piece by piece. And today, in the episodes to come, we're going to decode the making of a monster, the making of Diddy, piece by piece. Welcome to the Diddy Files. Out of the trial, the one thing people kept asking me is, how did a man this powerful, this connected...
Hold on. You see this image here? I'm not gonna lie to you. The aura of it, you can sense and feel the evil aura. I don't even know how to explain it. Irrespective, because anyway, let me know in the comments below if you can also sense that. Not just because of the red, yeah, but the aura of it. I don't explain it. I don't know how to explain it. Let's go.
Become the center, ground zero of some of the most horrific allegations we've seen in the last decade. And that's when I got to thinking, and you want my opinion, and I know you do, that's why I'm here. Monsters just don't fully appear. Or actually, monsters don't appear fully formed. Monsters are built, and they're built piece by piece. Let's look at Diddy, and it's a roll sheet. A murdered father, a house full of strangers, a childhood soaked in adult chaos, or what a lot of his close childhood friends call a brothel. Literally, they said he grew up in the middle of a brothel. And a boy, who learned early that control is safer than vulnerability. An image is way more profitable than truth. This isn't a celebrity expose. It's an...
Hear me out though, yeah? Like, just quick hear me out. But he also has a sister. So what happened to his sister? Where is she? How did she turn out? Because if you think about life, yeah, and if you have siblings, I'm not saying every sibling turns out the same, but they have I won't say similar story, but like if they're raised correctly, more times, there's a high chance that they're gonna be well behaved, do what's necessary in life. You know what I'm saying? I don't know how to explain it. So there's no excuse for how he was created as a monster. But anyway, let's go.
Origin story. And once you understand where it begins, everything that comes later makes sense. Frightening sense, but it makes sense. Today, we're not going to chase the headlines. We're starting at the beginning because that's where the real story is. Welcome to the Diddy Files. Now let's take it back where it all started. And I know what most of you guys are thinking. It started in Harlem. Nah, it started at Mount Vernon. You see, Harlem was the first lie that Diddy ever told. And it might have actually been the first lie that he told himself. I mean, look at it. What do we know? He was born in Harlem. But nobody tells you he immediately moved out of Harlem after the tragic passing of his father. And his mom, Janice Combe, moved on to Mount Vernon. Now, what happened in Mount Vernon? That's something we're going to have to get into because that might have been where he got his proclivities and even his taste in men. But what's Mount Vernon? Well, for those of you guys that don't know Mount Vernon, okay, it is described as super nice homes, nice private Catholic schools, Little League, altar boys, all of which Diddy was involved in. Mount Vernon was as sheltered as you can get. It was firmly middle class. Diddy had no worries, and Janice Combs worked 2-3 jobs to make sure the kids had. Now, admittedly, a single mom raising kids after the father was murdered is nobody's fairy tale. But when she said she worked 2 or 3 jobs, did anybody talk about the after hours speakeasy she allegedly ran out of that home? Think about it. Even his close friend Tim Patterson said, Diddy grew up in Mount Vernon, New York. Janice moved her young family there after the father, Melvin, was murdered in 1972. Now, we're going to talk about Melvin's murder, but let's get into this, right? Because this was the first lie.
Yeah, when she talks about Melvin's situation, Melvin Combs' situation, I hope she talks about what I think she's gonna talk about, because there's things that I've heard of from Gene Dill, allegedly what he was saying. If that is true, boy. Anyway, don't mind the noise in the background. I can't control that. But let's keep it moving.
Diddy ever sold. See, Diddy always understood, and this is why he was such a genius and so inspirational. He understood the power of his blackness. And there is no other way to say it. He understood that at the time he was coming up, hip-hop culture was forming. It was becoming the new rock and roll. He understood that the nation was captivated by it. They saw their favorite rappers. They wanted to be them. They wanted to be in the same rules that all the pretty girls wanted to be around the rappers. But who wanted to be the rappers? Middle America, white America, or should we say corporate America, which back then when the music industry was highly segregated, it actually was run by white America. See, Diddy understood that white America was captivated with the urban market, but they didn't trust it. And they wanted to be a part of it, literally to rub elbows, but they were afraid also. Diddy understood how to commodify it. But to commodify it, he would have to become the person that they wanted to be around. A shy, quiet kid that was allegedly bullied in one of Mount Vernon's best Catholic school. You probably went to the same school as the record exec did. They don't want to be around you. They wanted to be where DMX and all those other people were. So what did he do? He knew not to say he was from Mount Vernon. He became Harlem all day, every day, which did two things. It gave Harlem the respect it deserved in those rooms of tastemakers, because Harlem for New York was the epicenter of style, fashion, culture. And
which makes sense. Till this day, let's be real, Harlem is still the epicenter of fashion. I don't know how to explain it. Do you know what I mean? If you look at, I know some people clown Jim Jones, yeah, like, and rightfully so. But like, do you see what I'm saying? He's always into that fashion thing. And then if you look at Cameron, he's always like, no Diddy. He's always on some flyish. Do you know what I mean? Even Mace. I don't know how to explain it. A$AP Ferg. Do you know what I mean? A$AP Rocky. Them people. Anyway, let's keep moving.
Diddy credibility. He wasn't just some dorky kid from a Mount Vernon Catholic school that was allegedly bullied. No, he was your favorite rapper's best friend. He, through his tough guy thug persona, could offer you safe passage into the rooms you want to be in, the parties you want to be around, the women you hope will flock to your feet. He offered the corporation saw as Black America. He offered them not only safe passage, but he said if the price was right, he could deliver it to them on a platter, and deliver it he did. Again, as we get into the Diddy files, you will actually see Diddy wasn't shaped by Harlem. He was shaped by the performance of Harlem. He did not grow up in the hood. He grew up understanding how valuable it was to pretend you did.
So essentially, he's the first Drake. And I mean that literally. Like, he is the first Drake. Alright, I'm not trying to diss Drake, yeah? But I'm just seeing similarities. Alright? That's all I'm saying.
So he already crafted the perfect image. Diddy from Harlem. But what if you're looking at the eyes of outsiders into the Black community that want to be a part of the stereotype, for good or bad? What else do you need? Well, you need to be a tough guy. But where do you really get that cred? You get it for the streets. And Diddy figured out a clever way to make everybody think it was in his blood, or better yet, he got it from his daddy. You see, let's talk about Melvin Combs, the murder, the myth, and the crime lord. Now, Diddy's father was allegedly tied to major Harlem drug lords. This is widely reported. Some people actually even allege that Diddy's father might have been an FBI informant. Now, to be fair, that's never...
She said it. The reason why I was thinking, will she say this? She said it. And it's Gene Dill who allegedly said this as well, right? And you know what happens when, you know what I'm saying? Even though Alpo ended, but then afterwards, Alpo, yeah, if you know, you know.
Never been verified. But judging from the chaos that surrounded Diddy's life and the way he had a mother and father that was larger than life, well, it leaves a lot. It leaves a lot to be desired. Again, Diddy grew up in Mount Vernon, New York, a suburb on the fringes of Upper Manhattan. Janice moved there with her young family after Diddy's father, Melvin, was murdered in 1972. Now, Melvin was, even though we don't know if he was an informant, he was a known associate of Harlem drug kingpins, including Nicky Barnes, Willie Abraham, and Frank Lucas.
And Frank Lucas definitely was an informant, 100 million%. So if he's and there's a saying, yeah, that all Harlem ninjas, you know what I mean, they rap. Jim Jones is allegedly a rat. Do you know what I mean? But that's for another day, for another topic. Let's go.
Melvin was also found shot twice in the head, slumped over in the car. Melvin's tragic passing was the building block that Diddy used to cement his legacy, and I believe in the eyes of the corporations, in the eyes of the white record executives, and in the eyes of people that not only saw that as a Black American experience, but they wanted to be a part of it. But did I mention they wanted to be a part of it safely? Now, it's said, and this is according to Diddy, that Janice kept the details of Melvin's grisly murder from her young son, intent on providing him with an idyllic childhood. He was always dressed to the nines, and as a result, he was looked at as a rich kid. Tim Patterson, his childhood best friend, actually said, he played Little League Baseball, served as an altar boy, and made the football team at his all-boys private Catholic high school. But the
fact that she said football team, and there's a literal image of football, the real football that I'm aware of, anyway, that I'm shocked about. Because obviously, if you're American, you normally, it looks like rugby to me, innit? You know what I'm saying? That's all I'm going to say.
Yes,
Respectfully,
Back
though.
then, before Diddy knew how to lie like the best of them and wear so many masks she didn't know who his true face was, the kids could smell. They could smell it was fake. They could smell that he, no matter what he said of his lineage, that he was not tough. Tim Patterson actually went on to say that Diddy was actually badly bullied in school. Meanwhile, and this is the whole thing, dressed to the nines, idyllic, his mom, Janice Combs, that had worked 2, 3, 4 jobs to put food on the table. Well, according to Tim Patterson, she also got into the oldest, most profitable business in the world. Patterson says out of his mouth, meanwhile at home, there was always things going on, adding that Janice would frequently throw many parties at home, saying on the weekend, Diddy partied in the house, and we did a lot of that. He was around all types of alcohol. He was around reefer smoke. He was around drug addicts, lesbians, homosexuals. He was around pimps and pushers. And that was just who was in our house. Tim Patterson allegedly lived with Diddy for a little while. People that attended the parties were from Harlem. They were.
And this is what I'm saying. Like, if not even if, but if no, yeah, if Tim Patterson allegedly lived with Diddy during those times, why did he live with them? That's what I want to know. Why? Especially if the parents, his parents, like, think about this logically, I'm not saying it's not true. I just have questions. My question is, where are his parents? Because I'm sure your parents would tell you, if they knew your friend, your little friend, their parents are always partying, always making noise next door. You're telling me you're staying over there? No, you're staying here. Better yet, I'm trying to make sure you stay away from next door. Obviously, I can't necessarily stop you from playing with your friend, but like, hey, listen, you're not staying over there to sleep. That's for certain. But anyway, let's go.
From the streets. It wouldn't be a thing to mistakenly walk into one of the bedrooms and you got a couple in there, butt naked. DJ Easy Lee Lewis, who was also a Mount Vernon native, was close with Diddy and spun for Mary J. Blige in her early years. And he noted that while he never attended Janice's parties, he had heard rumors about what occurred at those parties where everyone was welcome. He said Janice had little cool chicks that would come around and let's just say she made sure everybody was comfortable. But it goes on. Again, it's important to note that there are a lot of rumors that Janice may have run a brothel, but it isn't confirmed. But the environment lines up with that kind of energy. You know, you look at it, Diddy was Mount Vernon on the outside, Harlem After Hours Club inside. And he looked like he grew up in a home where the adults weren't protecting the kids. The kids were just surviving the adults. And think about what Tim Patterson said. One thing when I saw Tim Patterson in the Diddy documentary that really struck in my mind was when he said that you could walk in and out of rooms at any time and be confronted with people having smecks, right? And while I was sitting there in court, something dawned on me as I saw like the umpteenth escort walk up to the stand. They all looked alike. And I said, if this ain't early childhood trauma, I don't know what it is. Because they looked alike to the point that it made me think that there was trauma behind that. Because think about it. Just let me quote. You could walk into the room at any time. What if there was a boy that was young like Diddy, that was unsupervised? Because the mom was working 2 or 3 jobs, just trying to make ends meet. Okay? And she decided a quick way to make money. Let's just say you walk into the wrong room. And they said there's already pushers and pimps and users and whatever you want, you could get it. It was a party. Okay, they was trying to make money. At the very least, Janice seems like according to Diddy's friends, seemed like she provided the blueprint for Diddy's early parties, right?
Makes sense.
Ain't no party like a bad boy party. What if you walked into the wrong room? What if there was somebody high off of their own supply and they were engaged in some?
And then, obviously, you can engage in some stuff here. But I'm gonna say one thing. she makes a valid point, because didn't in the Diddy, the Sean Combs The Reckoning documentary, didn't Kirk Burrows and also Tim confirm that there was a time where Sean Combs stayed away from the narcotics and stayed away from alcohol? He stayed away from it. So naturally, when you think about it, if you know what I mean, partying is one thing, yeah, like partying without the other extra, all that stuff there, that's one thing. But to be able to, I don't know, it's mad. But again, if he walks through those doors, what about his sister? Just asking the question.
Illicit conduct. And what if they grabbed Diddy and was brutal with him and threw him out the room? And it reminded me of, what if that person actually looked like all those escorts that Diddy had? They were all very stocky, had the same look. And I remember, and the thing is, I remember thinking this has to be trauma, because when you saw them, we actually did a Hot or Not Diddy's Escort edition on my channel. I did a live, because I was actually shocked at the way all the escorts, I would assume if you're paying for it, they would be genetic anomalies, and not just from the waist down, but from the rooter to the tutor. You know, they would be like some fine shit. But instead, they all had the same look. They looked a little medium, muggly. You know what I'm saying? And it made me think that maybe there is some early childhood about what he experienced. And remember how he said that they would grab him? I mean, they said that he would make his victim and an escort, and he would go in the corner butt naked with like a burqa, or hiding, or like a bandana, naked with a bandana and a baseball cap, right? I remember how he would make them do stuff, and then he would grab the woman and be brutal with her and beat her up in the next room, and then make her smear all that stuff all from the last man all over his body, and then would go out and finish. Yeah, I don't know. It was just giving childhood trauma. I just remember in the court looking at the medium smuggly faces and being like, it's giving childhood trauma. Anyway, right? Let's get back into this. And let's also talk about Diddy, the kid who got bullied. He was always dressed to the nines. He looked just like a rich kid. If you guys watch my coverage, the one thing that stuck out to me is, I think Diddy, being in Mount Vernon, right, still having that mess going on, I think he learned the importance of image. Everybody was coordinated, from his kids to his mom. Even Janice's wigs were coordinated with Diddy's sweater. Diddy had his hair grayed, but he had a shape up. But it was obvious it wasn't real, right? He had on. Okay,
listen, I did a quick search here. Just give me a second. I'm gonna show you what I just did there. So basically, I asked, first of all, Diddy's sister, yeah. Diddy Combs has a younger sister named Keisha Combs. All right, I'm gonna just go right down to the bottom. So basically, when was she born? Keisha Combs was born on September 14th, 1990. So obviously, there's a big age gap. But I was so clearly by then. Obviously, he's out of the house, really and truly. You know what I mean? So yeah. Anyway, I was just curious. You know what I mean? I was just curious, but now that kind of makes sense. You know what I mean? Because yeah, up until when was it? Up until, let's just get back into it. But yeah, I found out recently anyway.
On like a Cliff Huxtable sweater, which I thought was a bad move, because I'm like, you are associating too much with Bill Cosby. I know we know Cliff Huxtable. You are Bill Cosby right now. But everybody, even his children, we're all coordinated head to toe. Again, I think from his childhood, that's where Diddy knew and learned that image is in power. And if you get the right image and you dress the right way, baby, you can get anything. Friends, right? You can get people to bow at your feet. You can get anything you want. And I think that's even how he even got his idea of building his mystique, and of course, getting the record people. In my opinion, I think all this created a child who learned to armor himself with image, performance, aggression. Again, he wasn't feared at school at all. He built a persona that people would fear. He built a persona of a tough Harlem guy, and he attached himself to a bunch of street dudes from the same gang. They were running Harlem back then. And he attached himself to enough people that had street credibility, where the average person didn't know who he was. They didn't know the kid that was walking around a crazy house. They didn't know a kid that was bullied in Catholic school. They didn't know that kid. They knew the kid that had protection, that had the same game protecting him. And they knew that if they wanted to sign with him, he was a street dude that could actually get him access in the rooms. The weird
I like how she mentioned that, yeah, because protection is another thing. That makes sense to how he got into connection with Gene Deal, because Gene Deal was part of that organization, that gang, so to speak. But let's keep moving.
part is the people that sign with Diddy. Diddy's notorious for fleecing his artists, okay? But the weird part about the people that signed with him didn't even realize that Diddy was then taking that credibility he got from being in the street and bringing it into the record labels that were obsessed with black culture, that were obsessed. They wanted to hang out. So he used the street credibility to get money, to get artists, to get the talent. And he used that to bring around the pretty girls. And once he brought in the pretty girls, then he could create a party atmosphere. And once he created a party atmosphere, then he could take that to the white execs and say, you see this? Yeah, it looks like your favorite rap video. I can bring you into that. I can get you into the party. You ain't got to worry. You're with me. Sign on that contract. And all this talent, I'll bring them in for a fraction of the cost. And the thing is, Diddy looked at them, the record executives, and said, we can get rich together. He suffered was the community that he swore he was helping out. But I don't think that's a big deal because Diddy never came from Harlem. He was Mount Vernon to his heart, for good and bad. But part of that, just to rewind back, is also his early sexualization. And this came straight from his mouth. He said in a Vibe interview in 1999, I was just acting just like the P-Stars act. I was smacking that ass, flipping her over because I saw that in the movie. This man lost his virginity at 12 years old.
Listen, hold on.
Wait.
I know what you just said, yeah. But what's throwing me off just now, and I've seen this clip so many times, where he tries to touch Mike Tyson, and Mike Tyson's like, you know what I mean? Move your hand, bruv. Like, what you doing? You're doing that to one of the most feared boxers ever. Not even that, to the most feared boxer ever. That's what you're doing that to. Listen. Anyway.
Exposure to P and adult sex at parties, that equals zero boundaries and high confusion. Diddy didn't learn intimacy. He learned performance. He discovered sex through dysfunction, not affection. And when you add in the exposure, the alleged exposure to violence inside the home, let's not forget Gene Deal, the bodyguard who I interviewed. He claimed he saw a young Diddy physically lash out at his own mother. Now, this hasn't been verified because I wasn't there, but it is consistent with a household lacking.
Hold on, I'm going to pause right there for a minute. Gene Deal did say, I don't think he saw, I think he heard of, because he's always said it, but he did say, because I said, don't you ever put your hands on your mother again, or blah, blah. I think he did say that, or he heard it. I can't even remember, but let's keep it moving.
Boundaries. Because kids repeat chaos they're raised in, sometimes even against the people who raised them. And that's where this paradigm starts. Diddy learned at an early age to use identity as a weapon. Again, Tim Patterson, who lived with Diddy for a time in childhood, said, I truly believe it all goes back to childhood. In my opinion, this childhood produced a man wired for control, for dominance, for performance, for myth building, for rage under pressure, and for unhealthy masculinity. Again, regardless of what happened in that home, only Diddy, Tim Patterson, Janice Combs, and the people that allegedly came out of those parties happened. But when it started boiling over into a little boy lost, into a monster that was sharpening his teeth, is when Diddy actually went to college. the Howard years, because what he did in Howard laid the groundwork for every horrible thing he was accused of and convicted of in trial. You guys, join me for the Diddy File Part 2, where we delve into those horrific years. Because if you feel any splash of empathy for the little boy that grew up lost, wait till you hear the monster he grew into and the women he chose to abuse.
Chai. Yo, this is a lot. This is a lot. But you know what I gotta do? I gotta leave a comment, obviously, and then we'll get into that. Let me see the latest comment real quick. But yeah, let me know what your thoughts are on this so far, man. Because this, I mean, they touched on it to a little bit of a degree in the documentary and the Sean Combs, the Reckoning, but not like this. Not like this. Not like this. Oh yeah, let me read first. What someone put whilst slapping Jay-Z, though I've done that confirmed they really elite. Not necessarily. I'm not gonna just say it because it's Jay-Z, but I'm saying not necessarily. Elite pretty much do got to F other men to get out the status, get to that status. No, I disagree. I strongly disagree with that. 1210, when Tisa said the adults weren't protecting the kids were surviving the adults. Oh, this really should have been included in the Reckoning documentary, but either way, thank you, Tisa, because we need to prevent monsters from being created in the present and future. Because that's what it's really about. Yeah, that's what it's really about. We need to prevent monsters being created in the present and future. Do you understand? So, Ben, let's get to the next one. All right. Sean Combs, the Untold Reckoning, episode 2, the Howard years where darkness began. All right. But yeah, man, let me know what your thoughts are. Yeah. And let me know if you can think of any other solutions.
He's monsterized.
But yeah, if you hear any noise in the background, I apologize. There's things that are beyond my control. It is what it is. But let's just stay focused. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. Like, comment, all of that. It helps with the algorithms. Let's go.
Things that I've heard and seen.
That's him, by the way.
He's monsterized now. But monsters are made. You know, that's my little bro. You know, I know Sean. I don't know them. I swear I don't know them. I've never met those people.
It's true Diddy seemed to grow up like a little boy lost. But once he got to college, that's where things changed.
It's so difficult to reflect on the darkest times in your life. Sometimes you got to do that.
Now, he wasn't a superstar yet. He was just a student. But the witnesses say even then, he used fear like currency. Outside a dorm, under streetlights, that's where one of the first alleged assaults occurred. The college quad turned into a crime scene. But there weren't any headlines or charges. There was only screams, belt cracks, and classmates too afraid to step in or too shocked to act. This doesn't read like a one-off slip-off. It reads like the earliest draft of a horror story that Diddy would refine for decades. I'm Tisa Tells, and welcome to the Diddy Files, Part 2.
Quick question. You know what I've realized as well, yeah? Because you see with Part 1, it almost feels as though, because we are aware of the City College incident, right? And his name became popular because of a tragedy. Then his name became popular again because of another tragedy, that being or Biggie. You know what I mean? Like, but then also prior to that, his childhood was clearly a tragedy. But again, no excuses, because there's many people that have grown up with poor childhoods, like childhoods that you wouldn't even imagine that is even possible, right? And they don't grow up to become a monster. If anything, they use their childhood trauma to be able to help out other people. Do you see what I'm trying to say? But anyway, let's keep it moving.
Howard created a monster. You see, Diddy arrived at Howard in the fall of 1987. And by all accounts, he really learned quickly. Well, actually, he earned a reputation for throwing legendary rowdy parties. Some would even say he got it from his mama. And what he learned at a young age at Janice Combs' alleged get-togethers at her house, well, he found a way to monetize this bigger, better, and faster than his mom ever could. Now, while some alums remember Diddy for his once-in-a-lifetime bashes and over-the-top flamboyant personality, others recall fits of rage, acts of unwanted touching, and worse, public violence. Nancy Dillon and Cheyenne Roundtree actually wrote about this in the Rolling Stones. Now, the night that changed everything, that literally convinced the people that were brave enough to talk about it, that Diddy was...
I can't just do that and not read it.
Now,
all right, whoa, hold on.
Cheyenne Roundtree actually wrote...
All right, so headline on 9th of January 2025, exclusive: Sean Combs' mother through sexual charge parties. Now, it says, quote, excuse me, sorry. It wouldn't be a thing mistakenly to walk into one of the bedrooms and you got a couple in there, but Nathan, Combs' childhood friend Tim Paxton claims in the documentary. All right. I guess that was a different documentary when you deep it, because this is the 9th of January 2025 and we are now 8th of December 2025. Let's go.
About this in the Rolling Stones. Now, the night that changed everything, that literally convinced the people that were brave enough to talk about it that Diddy was a monster, let's get into that. They said there was a night where Diddy, and I'm reading directly from the article, where Diddy allegedly turned up to the school's historic Harriet Tubman quadrangle dorm and began screaming for his girlfriend to come outside. Now, this shook everybody. Because if you know anything about that, that's where everybody is. It would be akin to somebody coming to your job or in the middle of Times Square and screaming from the top of their lungs for somebody to come out and meet them.
I'm glad she broke it down that way, because it's like, sometimes you would think, is it this way or that way? No, she broke it down absolutely correctly, just to understand things from a different, clearer perspective.
Now, as you can expect, a lot of people took notice. And there were allegedly a lot of witnesses to this. Other women in the dorm began running through the halls, knocking on doors in panic. And this is directly what former classmates told the Rolling Stone. They were sounding the alarm that Diddy, known back then as a nickname of Puff, was attacking a young woman outside. They said one woman even recalled yelling, "Puff is out here acting crazy. He's beating her." He screamed and he hollered and he acted stone full until she came downstairs. One student actually witnesses. Can you imagine the arrogance, the rage, but the audacity in an all-women's dorm to act like a maniac, demanding that your girlfriend come downstairs? And it was so crazy that people were running through the halls, banging on doors. This prominent party producer banging on doors, this prominent promoter, the person that was throwing the parties, everybody wanted, was going crazy outside in the middle of what is basically Howard's Times Square. The woman that saw this then said Diddy used what appeared to be a belt to strike the young woman, his girlfriend, the woman he claimed to yell, all over the place. Again, let's link it back to that little boy loss. The way Diddy felt the need to violently assault his victims, according to their testimony. There's now the woman that was written up in Rolling Stones, literally saying he called a grown woman downstairs in the quad and took her and beat her with a belt senseless like she was a child. Can you imagine the aggression, the rage, the pain that man was inflicting, and the humiliation? But it goes into Diddy the way, even when, according to his victims, he liked to beat up the women so that the escort saw it as a display of power. Again, remember when I said monsters aren't born, they're built. We are in phase 2 of the making of that monster.
I don't want to say I can't. Do you know people say who's next? Yeah, anyway, I don't want to talk too much, but anyway. Anyway, I'm gonna say something. I lost train of thought. But we'll get back onto it. Anyway, let's go.
Now, going back into that article, they said they spoke with the Rolling Stone on the condition that they would keep them anonymous due to the sensitive nature of the incidents.
All right, that's what I'm gonna say. So, I want to know: did they report it to Howard University? What was their response? Because, and it's very I don't want to say understandable, but I'm gonna use a comparison to what's happening or what happened in 2025. I haven't even reacted to it yet on this channel. Don't know if I will, but shout out to Bouncer for doing content on that situation that happened in Leicester. I think it was in Leicester University, if memory serves me correct, where there was a guy, I don't know, I forgot his name, but basically him and someone else would strike fear into students. Yeah, uni students. Yeah, uni students. They would do horrible stuff. And that's reminding me of, because at the end of the day, naturally, I didn't go uni, so I don't know how the hierarchy start. I don't know how it works. Like, the highest I went to was college, all right? But like, so I don't know who they would have had to gone to seek help. Do you understand? But if someone's striking fear and I'm telling you, someone is responsible. That person is also responsible. Whoever is head of the dormitory or whatever it's called, they're in charge. And they're just as guilty because they're complicit. That's if they know it. But it's like, anyway, let's keep it moving. Let's go.
But the witness says Diddy appeared super angry and he was screaming at the top of his lungs. She said he whooped her butt, like really whooped her butt, viciously beat her with a belt. A third source also recalled the alleged assault. One of the former students says Diddy would often turn up at his girlfriend's English class, banging on the window to get her to ditch the lesson. The visits were a regular occurrence and eventually became noticeably unwelcome. According to the classmates, they said she would tense up when Diddy arrived. Her energy would shift. This was according to a student that sat next to her in class. He just had a weird control thing. I felt like she was fearful. Another classmate says she kept as far away as possible from Diddy after he caressed her back without warning and asked if she'd be willing to meet one of his friends. Another former student remembers Diddy flying off the handle and yelling at her simply because she questioned him about cutting the cafeteria line. Again, this was the beginning of his rage and anger and violence against women. And again, when you look at the way he allegedly acted in college, according to the sources for the Rolling Stone, and you looked into the way he has a story of, I gotta thank my mom for everything. She worked 2 or 3 jobs. She did this. All that might have been true, but we're missing something. Because where did your rage, your anger, your hatred, your disrespect for the women you claimed to love, for the women that shared their hearts and minds with you,
True.
For the women that you destroyed and left broken, not just as a trial, but according to the Rolling Stones, that you left broken even in college. The surviving Diddy started from the age he was old enough to realize, according to these witnesses, that he could, without consequence, beat, humiliate, brutalize women in broad daylight.
There you go. Without consequence. So naturally, the college, HBCU, are just as guilty as she more or less saying. I'm not saying what. Basically, they're just as guilty as making a monster in Sean Combs, allegedly. You know what I mean? Allegedly. You know what I mean? It's mad when you deep it. Yeah, it's really mad. Because don't they have, and it's no wonder they would have fear, because it's like raw, because there's no consequences to whatever he does. That's what it would seem like. Anyway, let's keep moving.
Because as long as he threw that party that everybody wanted to go through, most people were willing to turn an eye. Now, Diddy's alleged violence toward women was a pattern that followed him throughout his life, according to 2 lawsuits and many sources. Former Bad Boy president Kirk Burrows says he once saw Diddy attack a woman inside a Bad Boy's office in 1994. He and another ex-employee tell Rolling Stone they had to tear Combs off a woman after hearing screams and sounds of shattering glass.
All right, hear me out. Kirk Burrows, I know you are. I don't know when this happened, when this allegedly happened, but come on, man. You're just as guilty, if anything, then. But then again, I guess it's a case of if he's beating you too and you can't defend yourself, understandable. In some cases, yes. Is it understandable? I don't know. I don't know how to explain it. Because I get it. There's flight and flight. What's it? Fight and flight. Like, because it's easy to say, oh, you would do this or this, that, in that situation, but let's be real. But if you saw someone do something and you're not doing anything to help, then I don't know. It's mad to me. I just got a lot of questions. That's all. I genuinely have a lot of questions. Obviously, to whoever the head of the dormitory or whatever the structure is at that time, whoever that is in charge, did they know the situation was going on with Sean Combs and him doing that to these women at the time? Yeah. Then I have a question in regards to Kirk Burrows. So when he did this to this woman, what did you go to the police? What did you do? What was your real response? Or why did you not? You understand? That's a better question to ask. Why did you not?
Important to note that the Rolling Stones actually contacted that woman and asked if she wanted to comment on it. The woman declined to comment, but it's very interesting that she didn't say that never happened. She just said she wanted no parts of it, because let's not forget, that same Diddy that was terrorizing his college girlfriend allegedly, and that same woman that his co-workers had to peel off. He was assaulting women in broad daylight. The fact that he had accumulated so much power between then and now, well, I see why she didn't want to comment. At least I wouldn't want to. Let's also look into what Felicia Newsom said, the first manager of Bad Boy's recording studio's Daddy's House. She actually said she once helped.
Wait. We need to find out about that studio in a minute. Yeah. Because that name, the name says it all. But anyway, let's go.
Diddy back when he was about to beat this girl's ass after a fight broke out between 2 women over Biggie. She literally said, I was holding him by the waist. I'm saying to him, you need to calm down. This is not your fight. Now, again, I know what you might be thinking. They don't fight for his man, because at the end of the day, there's no shame in it. But I think we can all admit that Diddy loved him some men. He loved putting on a show for men. He loved impressing men. He loved keeping men around him. He loved paying men to sleep with the women he claimed he loved. And
Damn. We're going to hold that thought for a minute. I want you to see something. All right. So, I asked the question, yeah? The question is, Daddy Tell Studio, yeah? The one in New York, yeah? Obviously, I didn't know. Historically personal studio for Bad Boy Entertainment, and Sean Diddy Combs through his commercial studio and open to the public. All right, so now I had to ask the question of who founded it? And guess who founded it? The recording studio Daddy's House was founded and owned by the music mogul Sean Diddy Combs, also known as Puff Daddy or Diddy. The studio served as the private production facility as a key part of his entertainment empire, the Bad Boy Entertainment Group, which he founded in 1993. So, I say that to say this, yeah. You see, when it comes to the name of the studio, that is another telltale sign. That is a level of control. Because when you think of the name, like obviously his name is Puff Daddy at the time, and you could say one could argue it's in the line with his name. All right, cool, whatever. But come on, Daddy's House, it's a damn studio. Do you understand? It's a music studio. Do you understand? And if you look at society, obviously you'll notice that the dad is the. I'm not saying women are not the boss of the house, yeah, because they are. All right, mothers are generally the real bosses of the house. Let's be real. But the men, the fathers, are also seen as that pivotal figure. Do you get it? So, and the way that he's acting as if he's, yeah. You do the maths. English and science. Let's go.
And he loved making those men he paid sit there helpless, like maybe the little boy he was at one time. Why did he brutalize a woman that they had just been intimate with next door and beat the crap and only sent her back out with bruises to continue what she was doing? Again, monsters aren't made, they are assembled. And this is where Diddy literally turned into the deluxe starter pack of a monster. But there was more. Even Diddy's the love of his life, Kim Porter, we all know that. His long-term partner, who he never actually married, but then made a whole career out of saying how much he loved her and he was sad she was gone.
Exactly. If you love her that much,
You
marry
remember
her.
she died of lumbar pneumonia in 2018. Now, yes, the details of her death have been highly suspect, which makes you wonder why, when that happened, so many people that knew of Diddy thought he was such a monster that he could have potentially done something to Kim Porter. But let's talk about when she was alive. That love story he talked about, even that was a victim. He sharpened his teeth on Kim's body, at least according to Mark Curry. He said, I remember Kim used to go through a lot of stuff. If you live around them, you get to see the toxic relationship. But I think every relationship he may have had that I experienced around him was like that. Again, every relationship that Mark Curry, who was his ride or die back then, had that bit of toxicity. Now, it's important to note that Diddy's lawyer, Jonathan Davis, at the time said that no matter how many false things come out, it will remain that Diddy is completely innocent of doing all those horrible things. And
See, at the time. And now, yeah, look where he is now. Where is that lawyer? Was he part of that team? You know what I'm saying?
to be honest with you, there's no police record of this. According to Hollywood Reporter's summarization of this investigation, right? This alleged beating is previously unreported, meaning there was no police record and no disciplinary action tied to the dorm altercation.
Exactly.
And it is important to note that these are just allegations. The alleged victim has not publicly confirmed the details. Diddy was never criminally charged for the specific alleged event. And what we have.
And then when you deep it, why do you think he felt like he can get away with things? If you notice the thing about life, yeah, and this is just in general, sometimes if you do a certain behavior, yeah, Like, all right, let me use this for a prime example. Yeah, I know it sounds mad. Yeah, but I'm gonna use YouTube as a prime example. Just YouTube. Yeah. If you realize that if you watch something, no, what am I talking about? If you record content on something and then there's no copyright claim, it doesn't get blocked or anything, it's fine. Yeah. Then you consistently react to that content. In fact, no, this is a real life experience. It's better that way. For example, there was a time I was reacting to consistently music over time. Then I realized, damn, react to that music, it gets blocked. React to that song, it gets blocked. Then I thought, all right, let me find out why it gets blocked. Then I realized, oh, that person signed to that label. That person signed to that label. So by the time you think about it, you think you're consistently getting away with it at first because of whatever reason. Then you will find out there's consequences when you do things. You know what I mean? If you're not doing things in the right way or whatever the case may be, there's consequences. But if you didn't get the consequence before, you always feel like you can get away with it until you can't. Do you see what I'm going to say? Let's keep moving. Let's go. I think in this picture, no, it wasn't this picture. Is it this picture? No, I don't think it's. There's another picture where Kim Porter's wearing a Tupac t-shirt.
Our decades-old memories. You can say it's hearsay from classmates. It's definitely not a legal verdict. But my question is, the most interesting question is any of this true? Because regardless, let's look at what it implies. The pattern, the power, and the origins of Diddy's violence. This alleged assault, if the accounts are accurate, it suggests, highlights, and underlines the aggressive, controlling, violent behavior that looks like it dated back to Combs' student days, not just his later fame.
Makes
Again,
sense as well.
the alleged beating, the first one.
So you see that Versace shirt? It's all about Versace. You copy my style. Hey, I'm just saying. I'm looking at that shirt and the first person I thought of was Tupac. Anyway.
It wasn't in a mansion.
Wait.
It was on a campus quad. You know, so when you really the incident, the alleged quad beating, it stops feeling like a college rumor and it starts looking like the first chapter in a much darker story. I mean, think about what the witnesses described. A young Sean Combs screaming through the door halls, demanding his girlfriend come outside. A crowd forming, students whispering and screaming he's out here beating her. A woman crying, trying to shield herself. And Diddy allegedly striking her with what looked like a belt, as if the quad was his living room and the entire student body were powerless bystanders in his personal storm. That moment wasn't just an act of violence. It was a performance. It was a declaration. It was a message loud enough for the entire campus to hear. I can do what I want, and nobody can stop me. And in my opinion, that's a pattern. It's not just the violence. It's the confidence inside the violence. Because for someone that young...
Exactly, you see? I'm glad she put that clip in at the moment she said that, because that's where he gets that confidence to be able to do that to Mike Tyson. Come on, man.
Allegedly beat a woman publicly in broad daylight in front of witnesses. That means he already believed he was untouchable. He already believed he was bigger than the consequences. He already believed fear was a tool, not a warning. You can draw a straight line from that alleged moment on the quad to his early days in the music industry, to the stories artists and assistants told, to the way Kim Porter described being treated behind closed doors, or at least the people that knew Kim Porter, and to the employees who said they worked in a culture of terror. Every story echoes the same structure. Love bomb the room, charm the room, control the room, and then punish what he can't control. Whether it's a dorm quad, a recording studio, a label office, or a relationship, the playbook stayed the same. And that's how you know it's a pattern. Abuse doesn't just appear, it graduates, it scales, and it mutates. The quad incident is a freshman level violence. Bad Boy Records is graduate school. What comes next? Well, that's the PhD. Because here's the truth that makes people uncomfortable. At Howard, the violence was personal. At Bad Boy, the violence became professional. But at City College, the violence became public and deadly. That's the shift. When you look at the City College tragedy, 9 dead, dozens injured, it's impossible not to see the continuation of the same pattern. A man who believed he could pack a venue past capacity. A man who believed the rules didn't apply to him. A man who believed that when things go wrong, he'd still walk out untouched. Does that sound familiar? And that's why the City College event isn't just a tragedy in hip-hop history. It's the moment the narrative changes. The moment when the consequences of Sean Combs' decisions stopped bruising one person at a time and started crushing entire groups of people. It's the moment you realize the alleged violence he showed in that quad, it didn't disappear. It just scaled up. It got teeth, it grew wings, and it left bodies behind. So as we move into the next episode, keep the Howard Quad in your mind. Keep that belt in your mind. Keep those witnesses in your mind. Because the mindset behind the moment, the mindset that allegedly terrorized a young woman, is the same mindset behind the tragedy that would change hip-hop forever. In part 3, we're stepping fully into that night. The panic, the overcrowding, the screams, the confusion, the decisions that push people toward the exit and into a stampede. And the question nobody has ever fully answered: how did a college bully with a belt become the promoter behind one of music's deadliest nights? Because this is not just a story about abuse. This is a story about escalation. This is the Diddy Files. Make sure you tune in for part 3, The Night the Empire Drew Blood. It's coming next. I'll see you then.
Damn. Like I said, the Gene Deal one, yeah, we'll react to that another day for another time. Do you understand? That when it's a full, when the art dialogue uploads it fully, then I'll react. I don't know if Tisa uploaded part 3. I don't think she has. P Diddy's like the Black Jeffrey Epstein, basically. Tisa, I took a flight from Netflix to your comments. You better work, girl. Proud of you, Auntie Tisa. All right. Let me see the latest comments. It's better that way for me. Men secretly hate lost after their mothers who abused them. It's a diabolical combo. I've met them. These women are destroying their boys, and they become confused, angry, and broken. I can't say whether that's true or not. I'm not a psychologist, but you can leave your answer in the comment section below. Let me know what your thoughts are. Dangerous goofball, yep. Love, control, and punish. And then one more. Tuned in. No one could tell it like Tisa. As soon as she heard about this, we went to your page. Tisa is the only one you want to hear feedback from. Yep. Hold on. There is a pattern. So it only makes sense that there is a way to prevent the creations of more monsters like I'm not even gonna call him Diddy because his name's not, you know what I'm saying. His name ain't Diddy. His name is Sean Combs. His mama called him Sean Combs, so I'm gonna call him Sean Combs. All right. Creation of monsters like Sean Combs. What was I saying? In the present and future. But yeah, man, let me know what your thoughts are. Oh, I'm gonna see if there is part 3. If there isn't, there's something else on the channel that I definitely. Give me a second, people. All right, people, I'm back. Just phone call on that. But anyway, yeah, she hasn't uploaded part 3. So when she does upload part 3, I'm definitely gonna tune into that. But like I said, there is something I definitely need to react to. Where is it? Oh, this is one thing that we're definitely gonna react to. Ja Rule defends Diddy. Young Miami get lost. 50 Cent drops. Let's just keep it moving. Let's go. Because there was something else. I think it was Mark Agnifilo. There was that. Let me react to this first, and then.
Hey, what's up, you guys? How y'all doing today? Well, baby, if you are 50 Cent, you are on your victory lap. You literally have let us know that he is so diabolical that even the news station he did the announcement for was so Diddy could see him in jail. On top of that, Ja Rule came out sounding like a corny, lame loser. That's why you literally got.
Listen, this is why when I saw that, I was like, is this guy all right? Like, wouldn't it be better to want to see someone like Sean Combs exposed? So, like I said, prevention can happen. So, monsters. So, I can't get a word out of my mouth. So, prevention, because remember, prevention really is better than cure. But do you know what I mean? Because they're created. There's so many elements of people that are involved, and whether you like to admit it or not, it is what it is. But anyway, let's keep it moving because
Caught up in the Fry Festival because you can't understand real from fake and you don't know when the trends trade. But you know who somebody is? They are saying things might be fading. Young Miami. People are saying that Young Miami may be really, really upset about this Diddy documentary. Why? Because there was a scene in a Diddy documentary that the producers referred to her as Diddy's girlfriend. And it wasn't Miami on the phone. Y'all, let's sit down. And people are saying Miami is heated because she thought she knew about all of Diddy's girls and thought she was the official chick. But even while she thought she was the official chick, there was another girl that he was calling a lot more on FaceTime, saying he was going to the bank, about to change her life and all that stuff. Y'all, let's get into this. Where do we start? Let's start with Young Miami, right? Because Young Miami has always seemed, appeared on the outside, I don't know, to be comfortable with Diddy's harem. And again, if somebody wants to be in the harem, who am I to judge, right? As long as it's consensual. But with Diddy, is anything consensual? Is any? I don't know.
Hey, no. Tisa has the right question to ask. With Diddy, is anything consensual? Like, I know she's whispered it, but that's a valid question to ask when you deep certain things. This is what I was trying to say with the Kurt Burrows situation. Do you understand? With if he was there putting him off the woman he was, doing that situation to allegedly. Do you know what I mean? Anyway, let's not. I won't get too deep into it because that's just.
Anyway, right? But she was fine as long as she was number one. That's why she was fighting in those streets with Gina, because she had to be number one. Meanwhile, Gina and Young Miami having Twitter feuds, and Diddy is up there on the phone, FaceTiming all the time. This bad little young thing that looks a lot like Dana Tran, but looked like a black version of Dana Tran. If you haven't watched the Diddy documentary, Sean Combs, The Reckoning on Netflix, please go watch it. Your girl is in it. I tell my experiences in court, but all jokes aside, it is super. Listen, you can rewatch it. There's so many things that come out. What happened? We found out that isn't a producer. He don't even know how to sing. He is very, very untalented.
Now, for real, he took 7 months to record 8 bars. 7 months. Hey, listen, I understand if you're busy, but 7 months to record 8 bars that you didn't even write yourself is hilarious to me. Talking about, I'm trying to get back in my zone.
Pac, I remember when Pac accused Diddy of trying to take him out. It looks like he might have been right. Biggie, he did.
It's not like it looks like he got to be right. If you listen to how he speaks, there, one thing about Tupac, one thing I've learned about Tupac is he's not going to. Look at this way, yeah. If you look at the whole scope of it, and if you understand, and I would do my own proper real reaction on the whole incident itself, yeah, but and the timeline. This is why the timeline is important, because then you will understand, yeah, what it really could be or what it really is. But if Tupac said in that Vibe interview, yeah, the recording one, the video one, where he said he has reason to believe that Diddy is involved, or not. His name was Puffy then, but Puffy's involved, and that's, you know what I mean. He's saying, look, I don't care. I think he said he don't care if anyone else knows. I mean, cares if or whatever. I can't remember what he said, but he's more or less he knew. He's got reason to believe, and that's between him and Puffy. He didn't put on himself to say, "Yo, help me with this or that." No, he said that's between him and Puffy. So when you deep it, cool. But then even prior to that, he also had even more reason to believe, because naturally, he was. I don't know where I saw it, but he meant talking about getting robbed. Yeah, give me a second, people. All right, people, let's keep moving. Let's go.
To the West Coast, Biggie was on camera, terrified for his life. He recouped the expenses for a funeral, and also, don't listen to Biggie's estate manager, because if you go into his history, Diddy might have got to him, but also saying we didn't see anything in the royalty payments, you wouldn't see a recoup in the royalty. It literally, they deduct it before you even get a penny of royalty. But forget all that, right? The thing is, people are saying that Young Miami is upset about is during that time, she felt like she had won. And the streets are saying she felt like she was, because Diddy's good at playing mind games, and she felt like she had finally fought, got his attention, stood by him. She was shorty wop for real, only to find out that the whole time he was playing in her face. And go watch the doc, and the girl he was FaceTiming, it was the same girl. It was not Young Miami. People are saying she might be upset about it. And plus, now Diddy's in jail. And get this, even though before Miami could have been happy holding Diddy's hand, talking about I'm so pleased, he didn't treat me like that. Those were those girls. That's what they were there for. I was treated like a queen. I was in my womanhood. How you feel about the Diddy stuff? How you feel about the bad boy stuff? How you feel about the early stuff? Diddy's whole mask got pulled down by Alexandria, Vanessa, and 50 Cent, right? So Diddy's legacy is done. He literally is this generation's OJ. Anyway, Young
No,
Miami took her
time out. We can't put the two together. I'm sorry. I understand that to certain generations that OJ, he may the saying is, did he do it? But obviously he was acquitted, right? I'm not saying that he's guilty. I'm not saying he's innocent. I wasn't there. But obviously the juice is on the loose is afraid because he ran from the police. Hey, listen, you know what happens with black men when it comes to the police back in those days. Even till this day, it still happens. Yeah. Now, allegedly, I'm going to use the word allegedly. So naturally, he's gonna run. I firmly believe this is just my theory, and I need to watch the whole thing and find out thoroughly. Yeah. But I feel I don't need to. But if I was to, then yeah. I know he was silly to make a book about if I did it. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just mind games. But like, and obviously it's marketing genius if you deep it, but I genuinely believe he didn't do it, if I'm honest. And I'm not saying he's innocent. I'm not saying he's guilty. I'm just saying if you look at certain patterns, I don't think he did it. Like think about it. You think he really is gonna run it? Like anyway, like I don't know the full story. Let's just round it up because I know some people may clip this be like, oh, no, look, end of the day, let's keep it 100. Yeah, I don't know what happened. I wasn't there, but naturally, if you're a black man that is in that situation, what would you do? Naturally, wouldn't you run? Wouldn't you naturally run? Now, that alone, that imagery there will make you look like you're guilty. Understandable. But like, you know what I mean? And I guess, yes, years later, he went to jail because of stealing his own memorabilia, which again is mad when you deep it, but how did the memorabilia get into those hands in the first place? I don't know where and how he stole it, but he ended up going to jail for that. And I get it. Yes, Diddy got into his own situation where he got away with a lot. It looked like he got away with a lot of stuff. Do you know what I mean? He went to court, was more or less acquitted because of that situation in 1999 in December. And then he was acquitted of that. So I can get the parallel in a sense. I genuinely do. But he didn't really run it either. But anyway, I get it. I get it. But I don't think there's any comparison. I don't think anyone could compare. I don't think you can compare. I just don't think you can, because you have to look at the build up again. If that's the case, let's see a build up on the story behind the OJ Simpson. Let's see how that transpired. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, me. Because he's one of my favorite. Not one of my favorite. One of the films I used to watch in school. Because my history teacher was a tutor and he played it most of the time. I don't know if it was mind games though, but Roots. You know what I mean? The original Roots. That isn't really an original story, but we get into that another day for another topic. Let's go.
If you knew how many people win when I win, you'd understand that my ambition was never greed. I guess that's because people were saying that Miami was just only with Diddy for what he could do for her, and that's all she cared about. Take me to the Chanel, take me to, and she's like, no. I think that's what she's trying to say. I have so many people depending on me. It looks like greed to you, but I was really just trying to make a better way for myself and the people I love. I guess. She goes on to say, I'm in the process of putting myself in a bigger position, and I'm not letting up. Well, girl, we've been waiting for that. We know you're talented. That's why Diddy even got with her. Diddy only got with people that had something special.
True.
Cassie has something special.
True.
Miami has something special.
True.
City Girls had something special. He broke that mess up. At least that's the way I see it.
I see it as well. I genuinely see that as well. Because I never really, I'm not going to say I was a fan of City Girls, but I did like the song Twerkulator. I like that song Twerkulator. And I think the music video was directed by Missy Elliott, if memory serves correctly. But anyway, let's go.
Better get back on Carisha, please. She better do whatever she can do. But she got the talent. She got the looks. And low key, she got the connections because she never turned on Diddy. And as much as people are saying, oh, that monster, everybody knew what time Diddy was on, right? But they were willing to look the other way, I believe, because that's the stuff that happens, not just in the record industry, but in the movie industry, in the entertainment industry, in all those industries, right? So maybe that was it. Maybe she couldn't turn away from Diddy, because if she did, she would get blacklisted and actually lose things. Now get this, right? Speaking of lose and losers, let's talk about Ja Rule. Ja Rule.
Where is Ja?
He literally posted, "You rat." I guess he's talking about the 50 Cent documentary. That's what everybody said he's talking about. You rat. Always have been. Always will be an effing rat. Used car salesman suit wearing. Field goal nose having. Herman Munster head. A ninja. First of all, that's very anti-black. Field goal nose having. Did anybody call him drowned Stewart looking ferret ass nose buck teeth recessed chin need some filler and a chin implant, but because you are broke because of Fry Festival, you can't do nothing. Hope that on a reunion tour you don't get your head bust open by whoever else need to get a job, a ninja. Disrespectful. Somebody called him a Stewart look like literally buck-tooth Stewart, little, no chin, recessed chin, needed.
I've been saying he looked like a rat. He himself looked like a rat, or like he genuinely looked like a mouse or rat. I don't have to explain it. He just does, alright? And some people say I may look like whatever it is what it is. But look, you know what I'm saying? And the post is so magic because it's like, who are you calling a rat though? That's the first question. But then after a while, you start to realize who he's talking about. Hang on. Ooh. Again, I should be resting. I don't know why I'm not resting.
Implant needs some filler. Did anybody say that? Did anybody say he needs a jaw implant? That would be disrespectful. I think it's very anti-black to call somebody a field goal nose having. On top of that, used car salesman suit. Listen, first of all, I don't gotta defend 50. He is a certified billionaire. That boy can defend himself, and
millionaire.
I'm not. Listen, but I will say this: the part that really grind my thing, you rat, always have been, always will be a rat. I've been seeing a lot of losers online because they feel betrayed by 50. Now, 50 is smart enough to be like, I see where this is going. It's no longer cool to do this stuff. There is a reckoning coming. And that's why 50 Cent is a billionaire. And y'all mofos are fighting or scrabbling on like tours or whatnot because he sees. Time's up, right? Time's up. Shout out to Drew Dixon. Shout out to Tiffany Red. Shout out to the people doing the work. Right?
For real, for real.
But let me just say this. How is it all these people that are still out here making a fool of themselves, you're more concerned with people telling people about the dumb-ish than the actual dumb-ish itself? See, this is the one thing I do like about the Diddy trial, and there's not many, right? Because I think he should have been convicted of RICO, and we now see the jurors were fans. I don't know how a fan got on the jury. Did she lie about being a fan?
Clearly
I would go back
did.
into the jury questionnaire. I would go back into the jury questionnaire. But the funny thing is, right? How is it you're more mad about the dumb-ish that went on and telling about it than the actual dumb-ish? You don't care if women are abused. You don't care if Biggie had to pay for his whole funeral. Pac got shot. You don't care about none of that. All you care about is whether somebody spoke about it. Why? Because someone told you in your life that you can be a horrible person, but the code of the streets, I don't understand. That
And
shit
he's not
is
even
dead.
from the streets
That
either.
is dead. No.
The joke is, he is not even from the streets. Ja Rule is not even built like that. We know this. Like, his street affiliation only comes because of Supreme. Not Supreme the clothing, but Supreme McGriff. Yeah? Which is why the label, you know what I mean, end up folding in some respects because of the affiliation. Because of they thought it was, you know what I mean? I don't want to, the information is out there, do you know what I mean? And then plus, yeah, let's deep it for another perspective. He's saying once a rat, always a rat. That's only because they had a situation in a studio and he feels like and someone got injured. I think it was the studio engineer, if memory serves correct, that got injured. He's the one that filled paperwork. Rightfully so, because he's a studio engineer. Do you know what I mean? He's not, do you know what I mean? So, like, and not even just that, it's like the police report or whatever, I don't even know what it was. Is it snitching? I don't know, but like, I don't know what it, I don't know. And I get it from another perspective. From another perspective, you have the situation where he's in the song "How to Rob," where he mentions a lot of, no, was it "How to Rob"? Oh, I forgot. Oh no, I think it's "Ghetto Quran," where 50 is naming street things about street ninjas and all that stuff there, and you know what I mean? It's talking all that talk. Again, I can see where the perspective of it being information where it seemed like they're ratting. Nope. At the end of the day, even Supreme McGriff's nephew, yeah, he's been released from prison. I don't know how long it's been, but he recently did a podcast episode, and he even did a video with someone else as well, and he confirmed. Not only does he not have a problem with 15, him and his uncle, but that song where people accuse him of ratting or being a rat, he wasn't. So when you get that cosign and his name was mentioned in the song, says a lot. It says a lot to me. And that song, and you got to remember, he's Supreme and his nephew were supporting Ja Rule. And furthermore, I think he wants Ja Rule and 50 to squash their beef, but I don't know, that's either here or there. But you get the point I'm trying to make. But it's clearly that beef is not going to get squashed. Like, Ja Rule is so, if he was smart, and I do believe he's as a smart individual, right? I do believe that. But at his big age, the smartest thing he can do right now is just promote his business, stay out the way. All right, just stay out the way. Do your thing. Just perform if you need to perform. If you've got business ventures to handle that. Do you understand? If you're back into doing TV shows and movies, get back into doing that. there's literally no need to continuously go on like it's like he's jealous. I don't know how to explain it. It's like he's jealous. But let's keep it moving. But in fact, what would you call it? Leave your answer in the comment section below.
Not allowed to hide behind the culture. And the culture is not bigger than the program. The culture is made up by black bodies, black women, black men. The culture is not bigger than the program. And that the culture is not doing right by the people that made it, support it, feed it, and yes, help Diddy, Ja Rule, and everybody else monetize it. Then the culture got to change. The culture got to adapt. But the sickness of these people, the fact that Ja Rule and the men from that generation are so twisted in the head that he felt comfortable saying you a rat always will be a rat. He's lost. Speaking of somebody that lost big time, Diddy. You know how he's in Fort Dix. 50 Cent said he made sure that the first interview about the Netflix documentary, it 100% would be on ABC. Why did he say that? Because ABC is one of the only channels shown in jail consistently. And that means why 50 Cent was going around cheesing ear to ear, doing a victory lamp and dunking on Diddy's legacy. Y'all, him and everybody else in Fort Dix is sitting there watching. I wonder if he had a viewing party. I wonder how they feel about Pac and Biggie. I wonder how they feel about him lying about everything. And I wonder if anybody's figured out Diddy is right where he needs to be. And again, the jury, the dumbass journey, F those jurors that actually came out. I told you, I did a live about it. And I told y'all about that. And I told you the dumb shit they were on. I was accused of being a liar. And now we got their dumb shit actually on. We actually have their dumb shit actually on screen, right? F those jurors, because they had the boogeyman that did so many horrible things against so many people, and they had him, and they could have made him, kept them close and kept them safe in jail and kept the community safe. And what did they do? They let him go, all because he was nodding in the making of the band. And another person's like, your hand can't clap with one hand. No, she just didn't have too much love. No, that Indian juror, or he was West Indian, I don't know. F him.
Definitely not West Indian.
Yeah.
West Indian looks
what
like
is
me.
it? To quote Tupac, F Bad Boy is a staff, a label, and an MF and crew. And if you down with Bad Boy, F you too.
Then F you too.
Die. F y'all. My performance. Okay, let me stop. Anyway, y'all, if this wasn't copyright, they should have ended with Tupac's Hit 'Em Up. But you know, it was a serious journalistic effort. I will say this. Watch the documentary. It's not a hit piece. It's one of the best pieces of journalistic investigation we have seen into the Diddy trial. And it looks like it might be nominated for an Emmy. And it's #1 in almost every country in the world. Anyway, y'all, let me know what you think in the comments.
I'll be very surprised.
Bye.
If it doesn't get an Emmy, I would be very, 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 very surprised. Like, very, very surprised. All right. So the next thing we're going to react to, in fact, let me just read the comments real quick, and then we're going to get into the last thing we're going to react to on this for this live. And by the way, hit the subscribe button, turn on your post notification. Let's go. I saw your Tisa. We need to take a silent moment for Tisa going on in and on Ja Rule. Read him like a book. Read him like a book. Who was the girl? That's a good question. I don't even know. They mentioned her name, so I can't remember. Even he called him 50 Cent a rat. If that is the case, like, I know. No. Let me not do that. Let me be kind of respectful. Let me be respectful. because he knows this is the most attention he will get. Do you know what I mean? Aside from that incident last time with him, that's the most attention you're gonna get. He just wants attention. It's clear. Now you got it. Now what you gonna do with it? Like, you know what he's there. Like, now you got the attention. Now what you gonna do with it? You're saying you're saying that 50 don't care about the victims. No, you're acting like you don't give a F about the victims, and it's actually scary. Anyway, let's keep it moving. There was something else. Where is it? There we go. This is the last thing we want to wrap to. But Mark Agnifilo says Diddy betrayed him. So let's get straight into it. Let's go.
Oh, what's the problem? You don't like consent? Oh, let me get this straight. Now that you've been taped without your permission, you know the meaning of consent, Mark Agnifilo? You are most certainly enraged because Diddy filmed you without your... What's wrong? You got paid. Oh my God, you guys, come in, sit down, and shut the door. This is serious.
Hit the subscribe button, turn on your post notification, and look, someone just shut the door. Oh, that's funny. That is actually funny. The timing couldn't be any more better. Anyway, Mark turns on Diddy. Now, this is really interesting. Let's go.
Do you know the Muffin Man? Do you know that Mark Agnifilo is apparently very, very, very angry with Diddy? Listen, I thought something was weird with the fact that Diddy came out hooting and hollering. He sent Misa out. At least I think he sent Misa out to be his foot soldier. Every time I read her Instagram stories, all I hear is Sade. I'm crying everyone's tears. And they're inside each night. The night before. You know that Sade song? I feel like Misa is the queen of sorrows, literally, because I get it. You trying to protect your son, but at this point, let it go. Listen, but let's get back to why y'all came here. Mark Agnifilo, Diddy and his legal team. Y'all, things is getting serious for Diddy, because here's the thing. As much as 50 and Alexandria and Vanessa made Diddy look like not a fool. They made him look like the way I've always seen him, and the way you guys. They made him look like himself, right? Which is to say, he was making a fool out of the public, right? Okay, well, they are saying that Mark Agnifilo and Diddy's legal team is very, very upset, and they might be very, very nervous. Diddy done messed up now. Do you know why? Because remember how people are like, that was privileged. Diddy's team. And by his team, I mean his spokesperson. It's funny his lawyers didn't issue a thing. It was his family spokesperson. And I was like, where is Mark Agnifilo? Yana, do you want to answer for this? All right, now listen to this and you let me know if you think Diddy and Mark Agnifilo are on the same page. Listen to this. Oh, sorry, really quick. The title of this article on TMZ is Diddy betrays his own lawyer in secret video. They said Diddy.
And for TMZ to post it like that, TMZ were on Diddy's side. Just to let you know, they were on his side. They genuinely were on his side. Now they clearly aren't, because of the Mark Agnifilo connection. If you know, you know. If you don't,
he is furious at Netflix for dropping 50 Cent's documentary on his own legal troubles, but some of the videos shot at Diddy's behest almost certainly has his criminal defense lawyer enraged. They said there's a video in the doc shot by a guy Diddy hired to chronicle his life while he's talking to Mark Agnifilo. Yana, about his impending arrest. Diddy is enraged at Agnifilo and his entire legal team, barking that they're losing the case. Diddy has fired off a demand letter to Netflix. They said, but here's the deal. There's a true victim in all this. A man who won the criminal case for Diddy, Mark Agnifilo, Yana. We're told he did not know Diddy had someone recording their conversation when they spoke on the phone. Oh, what's the problem? You don't like consent? Oh, let me get this straight. Now that you've been taped without your permission? You know the meaning of consent, Mark
Now he's a
Agnifilo?
victim.
You are
Now
most
you're a
certainly
victim.
enraged because Diddy filmed you without your... What's wrong? You got paid, didn't you? Right? Because from what I heard, you was buck wild in court. You was wilding out, Mark Agnifilo. What's the matter? You got
Karma,
paid, didn't you? You
karma
got
came back
20 million reasons not to
quickly.
mind. Didn't you say Cassie had 30 million reasons not to, not to care about what Sean did to her? Didn't you say in your closing argument, Mark, this is a modern day love story between a client and his lawyer. Please, seal with a kiss. What's the problem? Didn't you get paid, Mark? What's the problem? What's the problem? Oh, now you know the meaning of consent. Now you have a problem with people taking away your agency. And just because you agreed to work with Diddy and you got $20 million doesn't mean you gave him consent to do all that other stuff, right? That's funny. Anyway, right? Now Mark's the real victim. Oh, really? Now listen to what Garrigo said. That's also part of his legal team and was helped running, his PR firm was, it doesn't matter. Listen to Mark Garrigos, all right? Because Tenney was Mark's lawyer. And again, if they got Mark Agnifilo on the line, that means they got Tenney. That means they got Westmoreland. That means they got Xavier. That means they got Brian Steele. That means they got Shapiro. And that means they got Rico, not the case, but the lawyer Rico before he exited. Listen, and remember when he said he was leaving because of ethical concerns? He couldn't no conscience with his ethics work on this. Why did Rico, the lawyer, exit the case? What was Diddy asking them to do? And why was he like, I'm getting away with this? And why is Mark so worried? But listen to this.
8 nuclear bombs, you know what I'm saying, straight to the head. And I'm tired of going back and forth with y'all, with the lawyers. That's just not true. Okay, so no.
It's mad when you deep everything, man. Hey, Diddy is really done. And again, the fact that you record your attorneys unsolicited, like without their consent, and I get it. In Mark Agnifilio's defense, his job is to defend his client. Let's keep it all the way a buck. So if he has to say, I'm not saying it's right for him to say that, what he said in the court to defend his client, Diddy, or Sean Combs, did I say? But do you know what I mean? What's that saying? The rooster coming, I forgot what the saying is. The rooster. What's that saying? I'm gonna find it. The saying. Hold on. The saying. No. The chicken. Yeah, the chicken come home to roost. Let me see the meaning. The saying the chicken come home to roost means that unpleasant consequences of one past action, mistakes, or bad deeds are finally catching up with them, forcing them to face the results. Much like chickens returning to their coop, at the end of the day, it implies that trouble you've caused or ignored is now returning to you, often in deserved way, and you must now deal with the outcome. Now, meaning actions have consequences. What goes around comes around. Literally, as I said, you know what I mean? Karma came back quickly. And hey, look, at the end of the day, yeah, I get it. He's supposed to defend his client. But hey, here's what it is. Now the question becomes, what next? What is next for Diddy or Sean Combs? Leave your answer in the comment section below, because this is, you can't be doing this to your lawyer, to your attorney. And this is one thing is that criminals end up doing for some stupid, for a good reason, should I say, they leave breadcrumbs. They do things that make their lawyers, make them end up going to jail and pay for their crimes, like on like earthly justice. They make it happen in some way, It just happens. I don't explain it other than saying, listen, God will push them in that direction, make them pay for their crimes on earth that they committed, one way or the other. Doesn't matter if it's 10, 20, 30, 40 years later, it happens. That's why you always try to do good and live good. You know what I mean? Ask God to forgive you of your sins. Like, be sincere and try to make that change. Don't just say it for the sake of it. Try. Do you know what I mean? No one's perfect. I'm not perfect. But come on now, man. Let's go. You're recording it.
No. Let me tell you something. Let me.
It's a shame when consent is taken away, isn't it? Mark. He having a freak off with your reputation.
I'm not a referee. So I'm gonna get off the phone right now. Listen to me.
You a demon.
Right now. And I am gonna let you professionals look at the situation and come back to me with a solution. No matter what nobody said. Let's just here and there, y'all are not working together the right way. We're losing.
Diddy hired the videographer. Diddy got on the phone with Mark Agnifilo, his lawyer. Diddy knew that
First of all, Harvey, it's Agnifilo-Yana. Okay, let's go. When I heard that, I was like, who's Mark Agnifilo?
Was being
listen,
recorded,
even I'm mispronounced. Here's
but
what it
Diddy
is, right?
didn't tell Mark. Does Mark feel betrayed by Diddy?
I've not talked to Mark about it.
What do you think? What do you think?
I will tell you, I'll just tell you, if it was me, I would be more than a little upset. I was more than a little upset when the client didn't know and I was being recorded. I mean, there was a while there where I was meeting clients under bridges, freeway bridges, because I was PTSD over it. So I think, as a lawyer, it is one of the most inviolate oaths that you take to protect the client confidentiality and the client privilege. So I don't know. I haven't talked to Mark, but if I were Mark, I would be out of my head.
Also, again, they literally said in this, Diddy screwed over his own lawyer in a secret video. What's the matter? What's the matter? You don't like it when people take away your consent? You don't like that just because you did agree to do one thing that they took advantage of you? What's the matter? Didn't you get paid money? Just like you said Cassie did? I thought money made everything to go away. You did all that for a man and he still screwed you over. Oh, God. Anyway, let's get into the commentary. Because at the end of the day, one, the footage that they did show makes Mark Agnifilo look incompetent. It make Diddy look like he the boss. He running things, okay? Mark Agnifilo was rightfully so very, very proud of the one he got. If you guys don't know, I was in the dock, but I was also in the elevator when Mark Agnifilo left court, right? And everybody was congratulating him on the good job he did. It was like 6 of us in the elevator. And Mark looked like he had won the Heisman Trophy. And you know what? Honestly, I think him defending that monster was morally bankrupt. But even I can admit, Mark Agnifilo did the damn thing with Diddy's team. Again, he did what he was supposed to do. Throw dirt in the eye of justice, confuse people, give alternate narratives. And that's what he did. If anything, you want to talk about the jurors and the public that actually swallowed it, right? Mark did his job. And he was his wife sat in front of me the last few days of court, right? And Mark, and she said that she had been, they work together as a team. But here's the thing. Mark was in the elevator and he was so proud. And I remember somebody was like, how do you feel? And he was like, oh, I just feel like I won like the Super Bowl. He said something about, I'm trying to think of the exact words, but basically just saying like he feels like he just, biggest case of his life. The best closing argument. His wife said that he thought that was the best closing. No, she said that was the best closing argument. This is inside team that she's ever seen Mark give. Mark was super nervous. A lot was on the line and he came through. And that whole legal team made legal history. Okay. Yeah. However, to have Mark in the documentary with Diddy talking to him like he's stupid, barking instructions, doing all this stuff. That's very humiliating. It makes it look like that wasn't Mark and the team's win. It was Diddy's win because Diddy was running the shots, right? Now, also, remember how in the documentary, and this is the deep part, remember how in the documentary, all right, Diddy was telling Mark, you got to do this, you got to do that. And then Mark was on TV saying, well, they were two consensual people, basically making it look like he was Diddy's errand boy, right?
And this is the other thing. I remember in a documentary, we talking about you looking like you something about CNN. And then later on in the documentary, you realize, hang on, he actually ended up talking on CNN. It's mad. Like I said, I have to rewatch to get a full scope and understanding. But I'm like, come on, you can't be that serious. You can't be. Let's keep it moving. Hit the subscribe button, turn on your post notifications. Yeah, man, let's keep it moving. Yeah.
People say that they might be upset about that, and it's very humiliating, and it makes it look like Diddy won the trial, not Mark. But forget all that, because there's even a deeper reason. Because here's the thing, and it makes me think, what was they talking about? People are saying that the footage that they used was one thing, but they are in possession of all the footage. And Mark and Diddy and his teams had a lot of phone conversations. And Diddy instructed them to do a lot of stuff. And they might have agreed to do a lot of things. Now, I'm not saying there is something illegal in what Diddy did, and I'm not saying they did anything that helped assist Diddy in jury tampering, witness intimidation, finding out stuff with the grand jury, doing things that they should have been doing. No, I would never suggest that. They are men of God and men of integrity. It's not like they were out there defending a monster and literally doing all these tricks to make the dummies on the jury feed into their pick-me and generational abuse and woman beater ways. No, I would never suggest that. However, regardless of what the reason is, they are saying that Mark Agnifilo and all the lawyers are upset. Again, they want to know the extent of what Diddy taped, how he taped it, and how long. And for everybody saying...
All right, people, let's keep moving. Let's go.
Oh, well, that's attorney-client privilege. See, you're still listening to Diddy's dumbness. Because, hear me out on this. Remember when I told y'all a few videos ago, but let me just get to the point, Tisa, right? Attorney-client privilege is only when there is a reasonable expectation of privacy. What does that mean? If we're all sitting in the middle of a crowded restaurant and I'm talking to my lawyer and we're on the phone, you hear this, and somebody goes and repeats it, because I said it in public, attorney-client privilege does not exist, because no one thinks in New York, where there is you only need one person to consent to record a conversation, right? Nobody talking in public sensitive information has a reasonable expectation of privacy. However, if we are in my lawyer's office, or if I am in my office, or we are in my home, or at my lawyer's home, or if I'm surrounded just by my lawyers and we are in a semi-private area, that's when attorney-client privilege. You don't have attorney-client privilege because you taped your lawyer without their permission, because you are in a one tape state, which means you don't need the second person's permission. Only one person involved in the conversation taping has to give consent. You taped Mark Agnifilo without his permission, okay? You taped him without his permission. And get this, you taped him without his knowledge. You destroyed attorney-client privilege through your own ego, because I don't care what y'all say. Diddy really thought that he was never going to get arrested. He thought he was going to beat the case, and he thought he was going to have...
I don't think he never thought he was going to get arrested. I think he knew there's going to be at some point he was going to get arrested. I'll talk about it later because I need to rewatch everything. Because I've been rewatching part 1 yesterday, which would have been Sunday. And yeah, like from the parts to what I've noted down so far, yeah, I feel we'll talk about that another day, another time. So make sure you stay tuned for that. But let's keep it moving.
A documentary being like, yeah, what y'all thought this was, doing a tour, laughing, Diddy bopping. He was probably making a sequel to Every Step You Take, probably written about Cassie and Alex Fine, and I'm not even joking. Now that we know what time Diddy's on, that makes Alex Fine look like a soldier, because he was like, if you want it, come get it. Alex Fine ain't never been scared, but he probably had a song, Diddy bopping on Alex or Cassie's grave. Every step I take, right? Have y'all seen that? I always knew he was a fraud, even when he was Diddy bopping. I said, Anyway, right? Diddy thought he was going to beat it. He thought this was going to be his victory lap, and he thought the footage would make him let everybody know, because Diddy's ego was so big, he didn't want anybody to even think his lawyers got him out. He wanted the world to know that it was his mind, his brain, his... Would it might be true, but I doubt it very much, because your mind and your brain right now, I bet you Mark Agnifilo would have been like, Yana, Diddy needs to free up things because he needs to pay his videographer. I bet you if you would actually told Mark Agnifilo what was going on, Mark Agnifilo would have been like, have you lost your ever-loving mind? Mark Agnifilo would have been like, pay them. Mark Agnifilo would have made sure that you actually paid the filmmakers. Mark Agnifilo would have made sure that you kept your ego in check and realized. But then again, according to Diddy's sources, Mark Agnifilo was the one, or the whole legal team, saying that he was 100% gonna get off. And just in case y'all don't believe me, TMZ actually wrote an article about this too.
I can end it like that. Anyway, well, yeah. Anyway, let's keep it moving. Shout out to everyone watching. Yeah, man. Let me just read the most recent one, which is not a freak with his reputation. He don't like how Diddy was trying to lawyer him and tell him how to do his job, hold him on camera, and we heard it. You get what you defended. You get what you defended, and he had it like it was the money he got paid. Did he get paid? Anyway, LMMFAO. When you said FO, you know the second time I said muffin man, then you said it. I was thinking out loud. I wasn't expecting you to say it though. I've never heard that. What is that? You know what I'm saying? In America versus the UK, there's certain cultural contexts that I'm never gonna get. and there's some that I will get, like vice versa. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's what it is. But yeah, anyway, mark my words, this is not the end of this. It will get even worse for Sean Combs. It will get even worse for him. You're doing that to your own attorney? And I do. I was gonna say I kind of agree if he did tell if he did tell Mark Agnifilo, I can't even say his name, that yeah, basically if he told him, maybe he would have just told him he shouldn't be doing this or pay. Maybe I was thinking, yeah, you know what? Yeah. Then I realized, no, he wouldn't. Diddy will continue to do what Diddy does and feel like he's like he would do what. Hear me out. If they already told him that it looked like he will get off or whatever the case is, or he will be a free man, and it's more than likely, yeah. And hear me out. This is just my personal opinion. It's more than likely that he's not going to pay attention to that because it's like, well, you say I'm going to be free anyway. Do you know what I'm saying? So I could do what I want. Do you know what I mean? He had those booking engagements, those speaking engagements booked. That's how audacious he thought. How audacious he is. Do you know what I mean? Anyway, let me know what your thoughts are in the comments below. Make sure you turn on your post notifications. I've got more content coming on the way. As you can see, I'm like holding my, you know what I'm saying? Because really I should be resting, you know what I'm saying? But man, I have to do some content. Get me? I've got to get monetized. Yeah. So if you can help me get monetized, I'll be very much grateful, to the point where if I do need to rest, all right, I don't have to post consistently all the time. Like I do post consistently, but I won't be, you know what I'm saying? I won't be doing too much. But anyway, yeah.